Drop everything, folks. I just received an urgent announcement that will potentially affect us all. And especially for those of you who have money in low interest savings accounts and an Advantage personal and preferred small business checking stashed in these banks. Well, you better hurry up and get it all out now before it's too late. Because Monday is going to be a day of reckoning when, or should I say if, the banks open at 9 a.m. Because according to Tucker Carlson, this is the largest bank failure since 2008. Yikes. And the warning signs are becoming clearer and sounding even louder as we all get closer and closer to the day. I mean, you really got to think about it. Just how bad are things getting when you see breaking updates like this? And I can't believe it finally arrived. Yes, the Stradman took delivery of what appears to be a Ukrainian super tank. Now, which according to the most recent videos I have seen uploaded on YouTube, Rumble, and Twitter lately, it would make you likely to believe that there will be a widespread panic and chaos at the banks tomorrow, Monday, with the worst bank runs this country has seen in history starting on Monday before big Wall Street banks collapse and take all of their account holders' money in checking and savings and redirect them to their own pockets and exercise their rights for bank bail-ins. Bank runs to begin tomorrow, so buckle up. Big Short Michael Burry warns of another major bank collapse. And Coinbase pauses conversions between USDC and US dollars as banking crisis turns crypto upside down. I'm so glad I got plenty of XRP and I'm not relying on these exchanges to wipe me out when they get the chance to do so. And have gotten my Hard Assets Alliance account set up and further building out my diversity, security, and cash flow prep. 100% free links down below in the description for any and everyone interested. Remember, cold storage is vital in protecting your assets and diversity is key. And almost all the central banks all around the world have been buying up gold like there is no tomorrow. I even increased my position just before making this video to lock in my price before it goes up even higher with the news that is preparing to come out next week. I'm going to add it to my physical gold hard assets and prepare to make another visit to my local gold bullion broker just to be on the safe side. Savings, investing, diversity, building wealth through small businesses, trading, crypto, and maintaining a strong cash flow through appreciating assets, passive income strategies. Folks, this is what I'm talking about. And if any or all of these interest you, then go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe. So Silicon Valley Bank, SIVB or SVB, was shuttered by the California Department of Financial Protection and Innovation on Friday, marking the second bank to shut down within days after Silvergate Bank announced its decision to wind down operations. And CoinDesk editor-at-large Christy Harkin and managing editor of Tech and Protocols Brad Kuhn shared their reactions about why Silicon Valley Bank's collapse matters for the crypto industry. Meanwhile, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said earlier today that the federal government would not bail out Silicon Valley Bank, but is instead working to help depositors who are concerned about their money. So, the FDIC, or the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation, insures deposits up to $250,000, but many of the companies and wealthy people who use the bank, for which SIVB or SVB was known for its relationships with technology startups and venture capital, and had more than that $250,000 amount in their account at the time of the collapse, there's fears. Also fears that some workers across the country won't receive their paychecks from the Mad Money promoted bank that Jim Cramer just a few weeks ago encouraged investors to buy stock in. Ouch. So, folks, Yellen, in an interview with CBS and their Face the Nation, provided few details on the government's next steps. But she emphasized that the situation was much different from the financial crisis almost 15 years ago, which led to bank bailouts to protect the industry. Yellen said, "We're not going to do that again." And she also added, but we are concerned about depositors and we're focused on trying to meet their needs. And so with Wall Street rattled, Yellen tried to reassure Americans that there will be no domino effect after the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank, telling folks the American banking system is really safe and well capitalized. It's resilient, she said. Silicon Valley Bank, based in Santa Clara, California, is the nation's 16th largest bank. It was the second biggest bank failure in U.S. history after the collapse of Washington Mutual in 2008. The bank served mostly technology workers and venture capital-backed companies, including some of the industry's best-known brands. And Silicon Valley Bank began its slide into insolvency when its customers, largely technology companies that needed cash as they struggled to get financing, started withdrawing their deposits. And the bank had to sell bonds at a loss to cover the withdrawals, leading to the largest failure of a U.S. financial institution since the height of the financial crisis. Treasury Secretary Yellen described rising interest rates, which have been increased by the Federal Reserve to combat inflation, as the core problem for Silicon Valley Bank, and that many of its assets, such as bonds or mortgage-backed securities, lost market value as the rates climbed, citing the problems with the tech sector aren't at the heart of the problems at this bank. That's what she said. And for those who may not be fully aware, SIVB or SVB or Silicon Valley Bank is the same bank that saw CEO Greg Becker, whom sold off $3.6 million worth of his company stock just around the same time frame that Mad Money Jim Cramer hyped up the bank and pumped up beginner investors who didn't know any better or were just too eager to get rich quick in the stock market and throw good reason, common sense, and caution to the wind, or perhaps both. And less than 2 weeks before Silicon Valley Bank had sold part of its portfolio at a $1.8 billion loss and was trying to raise more capital, according to Bloomberg reports. So Yellen said that she expected regulators to consider a wide range of available options, including the acquisition of Silicon Valley Bank by another institution. So far, however, no buyer has stepped forward. Shocking. And Sheila Bair, who was the FDIC chair during the 2008 financial crisis, recalled that with almost all the bank failures during that time, we sold a failed bank to a healthy bank. And usually the healthy acquirer would also cover the uninsured because they wanted the franchise value of those large depositors. So optimally, that's the best outcome. But with Silicon Valley Bank, she told NBC's Meet the Press, this was a liquidity failure. It was a bank run. So they didn't have time to prepare to market the bank. So they're having to do that now and ultimately playing catch up. Since regulators seized the bank's assets on Friday and deposits that are insured by the federal government are supposed to be available by Monday morning, but we will have to wait and see if that is actually the case tomorrow morning. And Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen said, I've been working all weekend with our banking regulators to design appropriate policies to address the situation. And Yellen said, I can't really provide further details at this time. Man, the warnings from the FDIC were right. Banks would collapse on a Friday, and like I had mentioned before in previous videos, that would be quite a long and sleepless weekend for all those account holders whose life savings, investments, and livelihoods lie in the balance. I mean, some investors are even at compounded risks of losing borrowed capital that they may have had tied up in this steaming pile. So House Speaker Kevin McCarthy told Fox News Channel's Sunday Morning Futures that he hoped the administration would announce the next steps as soon as Sunday. And he also said that they do have the tools to handle the current situation. They do know the seriousness of this, and they are working to try to come forward with some announcement before the markets open. While McCarthy also expressed hope that Silicon Valley Bank would be purchased. But yet again, we will just have to wait and see. McCarthy said, I think that would be the best outcome, to move forward and cool the markets and let people understand that we can move forward in the right manner. And Democratic Representative Ro Khanna, whose district includes the city where the bank has its headquarters, said it was imperative that the government guarantee all depositors and that they have full access to their accounts Monday morning. Time is ticking, is what he told CBS. Hurry, folks, don't wait. Act before it is too late. Is your money really safe in the banks? Could something like this happen to credit unions too? Well, Virginia Senator Mark Warren said in an interview with ABC News this week that he was concerned that the bank's collapse could prompt nervous people to transfer money from other regional banks to larger institutions, and that we don't want further consolidation. Now, Warner suggested there would be a moral hazard in reimbursing depositors in excess of the $250,000 limit and said an acquisition would be the best next step. And I'm more optimistic this morning than I was yesterday afternoon at this time, is what he said. But again, we will have to see how this plays out during the rest of the day. And he added that what we've got to focus on right now is how do we make sure there's not contagion? It is important to note that President Joe Biden and Governor Gavin Newsom both spoke about efforts to address the situation. Now, they discussed this on Saturday, although the White House did not provide any additional details on the next steps. Figures. Please, folks, if you have money tied up in this, you have a better shot of getting clear direction and swift action and aid from Joe if you were a Ukrainian refugee rather than a U.S. taxpayer. Just saying. And Newsom said the goal was to stabilize the situation as quickly as possible to protect jobs and protect people's livelihoods and the entire innovation ecosystem that has served as a tentpole for our economy. Yeah, protecting jobs. Right. I thought Federal Reserve Chair Jay Powell wanted to do the exact opposite.
I kind of think you mean the other thing.
Okay, more confusion is probably what is best for these people right now, more than anything else. I mean, these folks are pretty good at that anyway, right? Now, I bet Meek Kevin could have devised a much better plan of action had he been the governor of California, but instead he got squeezed. But I'm sure it was all included as topics of discussion while having dinner with Cathie Wood, the CEO of ARK Invest, who said to maintain deposits, you have to pay up. So if I'm just being honest with you all, like I always am, because I want you to have the best and most accurate information to help you prepare and gain access to what matters to you most, the truth, which will be one of your most useful tools when achieving greatness and building wealth. Well, I just think we could all use a bit of wisdom. And Tom Bilyeu shared this inspiring community post where he is seen holding a sign while standing in front of a grass wall that reads, "The first step towards getting somewhere is to decide that you're not going to stay where you are." J.P. Morgan. Now, the key, folks, is willpower. And I'm not talking about the willpower that Meek Kevin and Cathie Wood had after dinner to turn down the tempting dessert menu. I mean, you know the waiter's going to ask you without fail, and those delicious rewards for eating all your veggies will just end up going straight to your thighs anyway. And to be honest, nobody needs that before hitting the beach for spring break vacation, right? Counting macros and staying accountable for a diet and weight loss plan is hard enough as it is. Heck, even Weight Watchers CEO Seema Sistani goes on record with a recent publication on diabetes drugs for weight loss. There's been a lot of misinformation and misuse. Interesting. But I am more specifically talking about the misuse and misinformation that can be detrimental to you all, to everyone watching these YouTube videos and creators and their opinions, stories, strategies, plans, courses, and discords for the dream of generating passive income. Now, I don't want to throw anybody under the bus here, but I've come across a few videos here that have been shared with me lately about some misuse and misinformation when it comes to providing clarity when discussing the idea of achieving passive income for those and also how others have accomplished said goal. And what I want to make clear here is that the willpower, much like with anything else, is going to be more likely the root of your success and or failures. And that willpower will come in the form of being a sound and knowledgeable investor, educating yourself, gaining more knowledge, and acting in a responsible manner, and not over leveraging or overextending yourself and putting yourself in a position to possibly face extreme amounts of loss like we have seen here recently. Additionally, there may be some missing caveats and key components to the information that are withheld, whereas passive income, in my opinion, comes from the act of active income. But to create content and mislead viewers and entrepreneurs and creators and those looking to aspire for greatness by telling them that it just can't be done, literally be like just encouraging everyone not to try. Because the fact of the matter is that it does happen, it can, and it will continue to happen. Much like there will be some success in banking and investing and business and real estate and cryptocurrency and other markets for that matter, there will also be failures. But the key is going to be willpower. And that willpower is going to be in the form of you taking action, you being diligent, and you continuously evolving, adapting, learning, and pursuing, trying to accomplish the goals that you have set out for yourself, which need to be plans and strategies as you move towards preparing to get out of this storm that is about to hit right now. But seriously though, goals are nothing more than dreams and wishes if we don't have a plan and we don't take action. So yeah, I just want to share this with you guys as insightful, motivational information for you guys. The first step towards getting somewhere is to decide that you're not going to stay where you are. JP Morgan.